Civil society organizations in Namibia have been battling to survive as their ability to secure funds from external donors continues to deteriorate, as Namibia is usually not seen as a priority for global or regional funding calls because of its classification by the World Bank as an upper middle income country. Today on One spoke to Graham Hopwood, the executive director of the IPPR, an implementing partner in the 2018 CSO Sustainability Index for Sub-Saharan Africa, who said that apart from the external donors, there are very few funding options for Namibian CSOs.
There's a strong argument that, both government and civil society should, after 30 years of independence, not really be looking outward to development assistance too much, because we should be moving towards a situation of sustainability. But just from civil society's point of view, it's very difficult. There's very few other options for funding apart from the traditional donors. The private sector here is not that interested in funding anything that might venture into slightly controversial areas. And we don't really have philanthropists, individuals who will give a lot of money to a certain area or to support certain types of work. So we are left still often looking to overseas donors for assistance, or the local embassies as well. And I think that's definitely limited the scope of work that civil society can undertake, but also, nearly every organisation now is very small. We have only a couple of staff, and then a lot of several part-time staff, and I think most CSOs are in that boat. They're not able to have a very strong staff complement, because the other problem we have is that donors these days don't give you core funding to run your office and your operations. They just want to give you project funding, but that project funding needs to be managed, and you need to have an office space, and you need to have administrative capacity, and all these things are quite hard to build up when you're purely on project funding. So that's why civil society, in these surveys that we do every year, the main issue is not that we have a difficult legal environment or the government's trying to close us down. Actually, things are very, very open here, but it's just that we can't get the funding that we need to make sure that we even know we're going to exist in 6 months, never mind a year or 2 years. So that's the dilemma for civil society.
President Hage Geingob has over the years expressed dismay at Namibia's classification as an upper middle income country, which conceals the high levels of income inequality and social imbalances in the country. The Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia reported that in 2018 there were 228,000 shacks in urban areas, accommodating about 995,000 people, or approximately 40% of the population. According to the press secretary at the presidency, although Namibia has managed to reduce poverty significantly, inequality still remains high, and the upper middle income country status has a negative impact on the type of development assistance Namibia can receive.
Namibia's upper middle income status has a negative impact on the type of loans, on the type of grants, on the type of development assistance that the country can receive. And that is entirely unfair. It does not speak to equity, because Namibia has a long history of structural uneven development, and this impacts us negatively, because we still need loans that at very competitive rates. We still need, in some instances, our debt to be written off, because we are a developing country with inequalities that are quite high. Yes, we have made significant progress in terms of fighting poverty. From 1994 to today, poverty has decreased by around close to 60%. So those are tangible things we have done in terms of the fight against poverty. But inequality remains high. And one of the tools through which we can fight inequality is when the global system, in a global environment, we are seen still as a country that has these structural challenges that must be addressed through a system that looks at us in an equitable manner. Currently, that classification does not serve us too well.
CSOs are crucial elements of democracy as they promote civic participation in governance, which is a fundamental pillar in the promotion and protection of democratic governance. According to the Namibia Institute for Democracy's 2018 Guide to Civil Society, there are more than 130 active organizations countrywide, with the majority working in education, health and human rights.